Welcome to this week's Ask, where we try and answer all your mountain bike related questions. So leave them in the comments section down below or send them to ask@gmbn.com.
In last week's show, we actually had a pretty interesting question come up about if you can use water inside your brakes instead of oil. And interestingly, we were reminded by PAWEL WIELGUS that there are German manufactured brakes by Brakeforce One that do use water.
I was really surprised by it. I've never heard of that. I can't see how it's any better than oil, but well, if someone's doing it, then fair play.
Alternative technology.
Yeah, good one. Okay, first question then comes from Wiets van Eysden. And it says his chain keeps falling off every time he does jumps. Is the chain the cause, or is it my landing skills? It could be both, I suppose, but unlikely to come off every time, I'd say.
Yeah, perhaps he's in quite a low gear, maybe crossing over with small and small.
That was my thought, yeah. Put it in a bigger chain ring if you've got one, just to tighten the chain up, or actually you might want to take a couple of links out of a chain, so check your chain length, I would say. Right, next question comes from Simo W. You always emphasise the advantages of enduro bikes, but what are their disadvantages, Doddy?
Too much travel, perhaps, for often riding?
Yeah, I guess because they sort of sit at the gravity end of things, then they're not going to descend quite as well as a full-on downhill bike, but they're not going to pedal quite as well as a cross-country bike. So, of course, it depends on the type of riding you do, but I guess they suit my style of riding, where I don't mind taking my time up the hill, and I'd rather ride fast down the hill. That's what they're really good for. I
think you definitely do see a lot of people over-equipped these days.
I think that's true. Definitely in the UK, you see a lot of people on sort of 160mm bikes. I think a lot of trails in the UK could probably run a short travel bike.
Definitely.
But you should check out our video on cross-country versus enduro mountain bikes.
Enduro is all about being fast on the downhills, but you need to climb to the top as well, so you need a bike that can do both.
Cross-country mountain bikes are the original all-rounder. This thing climbs super fast. It's not as fast on the descents, but it's still a lot of fun. So this is cross-country versus enduro.
We've got one big climb, one big descent. Let's see which is fastest.
Zach Reader says, will you guys become to the USA ever?
Well, I've been once already. I've been to Sea Otter this year. Well, we're going to Crown Whistler. No, that's not US, that's Canada. You're going to Interbike, aren't you, Doddy?
I think so, yeah.
So we're definitely trying to get over. I'd love to come to Rampage. That'd be a great plan.
That'd be amazing to see, yeah.
So yeah, we definitely do try and come over 2 or 3 times a year. So we'll let you know where we're going to be. Dieter Ross. Right, question about e-bikes again. How much elevation can I gain on an e-bike compared to a regular bike, cross-country bike, for the same rider effort? Let's say a rider is able to achieve 2,000 meters elevation on a cross-country loop. How much more would you get with an electric drivetrain, powertrain even?
Do you know what? I'm not sure I spent enough time on an e-bike to actually...
This is my perfect idea of an e-bike ride, is to go to the Alps somewhere and just do exactly that. So ride up as far as you can with that power. I don't know, I know they've got 2 hours worth of battery, say for a cross-country style ride. So let's say an hour and a half if you're just climbing. I reckon you could do 3,000 meters maybe, if you need a big hill.
That's a good amount of climbing, that is.
I think it's a video we need to do that. It's one big up, one big down.
Let's get it done.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got Adam James here. When I pull my back brake, it makes a clicking, clunking noise. What could that be?
What do you reckon? I think my first port of call would be the brake lever. They can get a bit dry, so most of them you can service them, so sort of take the pivot out and try and grease that up. What do you reckon?
It's also worth checking the actual pivot bolts in there. So I had one of those rattle out the other day.
In the brake pads? Oh no, sorry, the lever.
The lever itself, yeah.
Yeah, I've had, you know, when your pads move along your retaining pin, that can crunch occasionally, but I think my lever would be the first port of call. Bill Slovin, other than weight differences, what's the difference in performance between Shimano XT and XTR drivetrain?
I'm not so sure there's a massive difference in performance. I mean, the XTR is just racing, so it's lighter, it's a lot flashier. XT is the workhorse, really. That's the one that most people are going to stick to. With
sort of going up the price points of these things, you quite often get sort of better quality things, like so you get a bearing maybe in the shifter or rather than a bushing. So often they feel a bit higher quality, but they probably perform actually relatively similarly.
That's a good point actually. The XTR shifter is especially light action.
Yeah.
And it's got a double down tap feature.
Yep. But obviously you pay for that privilege. Michael Hurtley, if I swap my tyres, can I reuse my tubeless tyre sealant?
As long as it hasn't dried out too much, I don't see why not, but it depends how long the sealant's been in there, because it starts congealing and you get a little rubber.
Yeah,
balls.
that's the thing, you do get those big things, those like balls, but yeah, most times fine, I'd say. I'd tell you a top tip is I use the cap, you know, like you've got an aerosol can, the cap of that, I use that because it sort of fits the profile of the tyre to scoop out your old tubeless sealant.
That's a good tip.
Always recycling. You should check out our video on how to fit tubeless mountain bike tyres. Okay, so we're going to talk about converting from a regular setup with a tyre and a tube to a tubeless setup. The main advantages of tubeless is you take away any risk of puncturing by pinching the tube. That means you can start running lower tyre pressure, so you might find more grip. Right, Doddy, you ready for the quick fire round?
Yeah.
Quick
fire away.
Kai Skebo, can I run a SRAM brake lever with Shimano brakes?
No. You can't, that's because it's using dot fluid instead of mineral fluid.
Oh, there you go. Parker Lyman, when I pedal hard, my crankset starts creaking. What can I do to fix this?
Process of elimination first. Check your chainring bolts, check your cranks are tight, check your pedals haven't got play. You need to find out exactly where the creak is coming from.
Or stop pedalling. Reese Mitchell, can you use a Schrader bike pump as a shock pump?
Technically, yeah. It'll take you all day though to pump it up because the shock's under high pressure.
I'll try that. Henry Wu, will mixing new grease together with different stock grease for bearing maintenance do something horrible?
Yeah, my OCD. Yeah, I'd say no, but
I don't know. Surely you'd want to just replace what was in there by cleaning it out first. But
yeah, well, we'll give it a try.
Each to our own, Henry. Jason Davis, my bike seat smells absolutely rancid from the absorbed sweat. Is there a way to clean a seat to remove the stench?
I would say with fire, probably, but no. In all honesty, I'm not sure.
That's a new one to me.
Not heard this problem before.
Jason is maybe a doctor actually. Matt Dakin, is it normal for the rear shock to get hot on a 1 minute technical downhill section?
Not necessarily hot, but it certainly get warm, depending how heavy you are, how hard you're riding, how gnarly the terrain is.
I've done it, I've burnt my leg on my shock before in the Alps when you're doing a big old descent, but yeah, a minute.
A bit longer than a minute.
Yeah. Tristan Perfect, can you use too much sealant when sealing tubeless tyres?
It's a bit wasteful, you don't really need to. There's a certain amount you need to coat the inside of the tyre to deal with flats. If you're running too much, it's going to start sloshing around and
be heavy as well.
Yeah, you'll feel it.
Yep. Vehicles.uk, do tokens in your fork reduce travel?
No, they just decrease the air volume so they make the fork feel more progressive.
Excellent. That was the quickfire round.
Now it's time for correct me if you're wrong. Send yours in to ask@gmbn.com. Right now we've got Kyle. Hey GMBN, how can I improve my drops?
Let's take a look. So what's it? 2 or 3 foot drop coming in, nice slow-mo. So he's lifted the front wheel using his weight, but what I would say is, Carl, try and get further back on the bike. So you see, as you get to the edge, timing's good. You sort of go from middle of the bike to up and back. So try and stay lower and just move back rather than up and back. So you move up and back, you actually stay quite high above the bike. So when you land, it's gonna be quite a heavy landing. So just practicing manuals off like a curb, something really small, and just get used to sliding the bike forward rather than up and back. But it was good, like you judged it really well, you landed 2 wheels at the same time, but it could be a bit smoother, I'd say.
Solid advice.
Yeah, keep sending them to ask@gmbn.com, we'll check them out and hopefully try and help you out.
Don't forget to subscribe, click right here in the middle. If you want to find out 5 tips on how to buy a new mountain bike, click down here.
And for 5 common body position mistakes, click over here to make sure you're not doing them. Give us a thumbs up if you like this week's Ask GMBN.